Hello and welcome to today's webinar on beauty packaging trends and innovations into 2025, which is the latest roundtable webinar in Cosmetics Businesses series. I'm Julie Ray, I'm Head of Editorial at HPCI Media, and I will be your moderator for this session. So in the next hour or so, we're going to explore the latest advancements and emerging trends in the beauty packaging industry, be this sustainable materials, smart packaging tech, regulatory updates, and even new testing methods. So to help us get some perspective and insight on this, we have a fantastic group of experts. But before I hand over, I'd like to mention just a few housekeeping details. Firstly, today's webinar, as always, will be available on demand if you would like to revisit the content or share the content at any stage. The last 20 minutes or so of this webinar will be devoted to a Q&A session. So please do feel free to ask our experts anything you like on the topic of packaging. You will see a box for the questions in front of you, so do please use this to send us in any questions that you might not have already sent in as part of our sign-up process. So with all of that said, I will now hand over to our first panelist.
Hi, my name is Anne Wagner, and I am a scientific portfolio specialist too, and I specialize in home and personal care solutions for Charles River Laboratories. The area that I will be discussing today is how you can accelerate cosmetic innovation by utilizing rapid microbiology techniques. Now, you may be thinking, wait, I'm in a packaging seminar. What does microbiology have to do with packaging? Actually, there's a lot. There are many facets of cosmetic product innovation. When people think of cosmetic innovation, it's most likely in a new and creative formula, aesthetic, or format of a product. Formulation is just one part of the creative process, and innovation can be at every step along the way, like raw material sourcing, compliance opportunities, packaging, and manufacturing. Today, I will be discussing the links between product quality, microbiology, and packaging. So let's talk a little bit more about how microbiology connects to packaging. Why does it matter? There are lots of points to consider where microbial contamination can be introduced into a package. The microbial risk can be mitigated or enhanced by the packaging type. This can happen in the process of formulation through potentially contaminated ingredients, how the product is processed in the manufacturing facility, filling into the final package, storage of the packaging, and how it's used by the consumer. For consumer use, consider a single-use package. That's low risk for microbial contamination to be introduced by the consumer. But depending on what the package is made out of, or how much the consumer may need, this might not be a sustainable option. Then there are other extremes. When the product is so viscous, then it needs to be in a jar or pot for products like creams or hair masks that require you to put your hand into it, and it's an easy way to introduce microorganisms during use. This is where the formulation part of the R&D process and the packaging group work together to ensure the product is safe for use throughout the life of the product and its package format. I'm going to focus on the product's final microbial check, however. This is called the microbial limits test. This is a group of tests that can ensure that your ingredients, processing, and filling have not introduced microorganisms along the way. Microorganisms can come from anywhere. Even how you store your packaging matters too. Cardboard can harbor molds. There are many points to consider for microbial risk along the manufacturing path. Understanding the flow within your facility can help you pinpoint areas of high risk for microbial contamination, including areas of high movement, exposure of the formula to the environment during processing, and how it's being filled into the package, and proper cleaning and disinfection of filling equipment. Microorganisms don't need much to thrive, and they pose a risk to consumer safety and the product's efficacy, so the microbial limits test is essential as a last check and confirmation of quality. Let's talk more about this common test for microbial limits. Quality control laboratories in the home and personal care industry are being pressured to provide these testing results in as little time as possible. so that production is not at a standstill waiting for pertinent information on microbial analysis. The traditional microbial limits test is a plating method that relies on laboratory techniques that date back to the 1800s. In this case, the sample is most commonly the finished product in final packaging. Formulators and people from the operations side may be familiar with the microbial limits test as the test that can take 3 to 7 days to get results, depending on the laboratory specifications. Now, the time to result is one aspect, but there are many other pain points that the microbiologists need to deal with, such as having to keep many different media for testing for the microbial counts and absence of specific microorganisms. This can mean having many liquid media broths or agar plates on hand that need to be either made fresh or purchased. And then there's just the overall time that it takes to make everything. Let's consider all that time management and coordination in managing all those tests. And it's more than just the physical plates and media types that need to be there. They've got a variety of expiration dates. Also, for absence of specific microorganism tests, need to do additional manipulations, aliquots, and growth promotion tests at different days to get that final confirmation. That's a lot. Now, let's think about this. This method dates back from the 1800s. You wouldn't be using a cell phone from the 90s, so why consider that microbial detection methods from the 1800s are still the best way? The best way to produce faster, more accurate results is to modernize your technology with innovative methods. And that innovative method is a rapid microbial detection method. One of the biggest things that holds up innovation is resisting change because tests have always been done this way. Just like the microbial limits tests have always been done that way. It's just a test that takes 3 to 7 days. But this mindset of preferring to stick to the familiar at the expense of innovation can be restrictive, especially for the cosmetics industry, where efficiency is essential. Rapid microbiological detection offers an alternative, more efficient, and dependable way to achieve equivalent results in a fraction of the time. Alternative methods are pivotal in transforming how quality control is conducted and embrace innovative change over tradition. Without considering alternative methods, cosmetics and personal care industries are at risk for missing significant gains in efficiencies. Now, this might be the first time you've heard of a rapid microbial method. A rapid microbial method means that the method is faster than traditional testing. However, not every rapid detection method is the same, and there's a lot you can choose from. Celsis rapid microbial detection can provide results in as little as 24 hours. The platform offers automated reporting, flexible detection capabilities, and high throughput that can revolutionize the laboratory with objective and accurate results and the ability to test a variety of products. If the manufacturing plant is depending on these microbial limits test results, if you're waiting 3 to 7 days for results, your inventory is sitting idle, waiting to be shipped, or potentially a manufacturer could choose to ship at risk before the results have been released. With a rapid detection method, products can get to the shelf, not being held in inventory, with an overall operational efficiency that's increased with long-term cost savings. Let's also consider that a rapid method gives you rapid response rates. The Celsis method technology allows your QC lab to complete product testing and get results in less than 24 hours. A faster detection minimizes the amount of product affected, allows for quicker corrective action, and can get your facility back producing product much faster. In this image, you see a hypothetical process. At the bottom, you're using the traditional microbial methods. A microbial contamination event is detected 7 days post-manufacturing the formula. Once detected, an investigation and corrective action are initiated. By the time a replacement batch is produced and tested with a traditional microbial limits test, product isn't released into distribution until day 13 instead of the planned day 7. Alternatively, using the Celsis rapid detection method contamination is detected at day 3. The investigation is completed, and replacement product is released at day 9. Using traditional methods, the operation is still in crisis mode at day 9, trying to investigate a contamination event that at that point may have occurred a week and a half ago. Rapid microbial testing allows for rapid detection and rapid response. ATP bioluminescence assays use biology to make a more effective microbial test. In this case, it's the optimization of the luciferase enzyme for microbial detection, which is the same enzyme that makes fireflies glow. The standard ATP bioluminescence assay detects microorganisms using the luciferase enzyme to produce light from microbial ATP. Amplified ATP bioluminescence, like you're seeing in this image, goes a step further in detection, ability, and timing. Adenylate kinase, the enzyme that produces ATP, is present in all living cells, and Celsis AmpiScreen works with that enzyme. We add 2 reagents simultaneously that lyse the cells and supply an excess of ADP that adenylate kinase uses as a starting material to make ATP. Then, in the second step, luminate is added, which contains the enzyme luciferase, that same enzyme that makes fireflies glow, and uses the ATP to produce light. Celsis then uses a luminometer to monitor light emission to determine presence or absence of microorganisms. It's simple, fast, and automated, giving you a very easy to understand result. Charles River also offers multiple reagent lines that can amplify the sensitivity of ATP bioluminescence for microbial detection and provide extracellular ATP removal to test products that contain natural ingredients that could have the potential of carryover of ATP background. Celsis AmpiScreen provides standard results in just 24 hours. Paired with our newest extension, Celsis Adapt Express protocol, you can get results in as little as 8 hours. One of the challenges of personal care products and cosmetics is the sheer diversity of products. That can impact product packaging that is possible to use. And that same consideration must be made when converting to a rapid method. It's most useful when one method can test most of your products. Celsis has a wide sample compatibility for both direct inoculation and membrane filtration, including a variety of viscosities, pH levels, alcohol or water-based samples, as well as wipes. Charles River has proven Celsis assay compatibility with many of these product types, including shampoos, moisturizers, sunscreens, home cleaning agents, detergents, and more. Modernizing the quality control laboratory can have a significant impact on manufacturing, as well as the quality control lab itself. Instead of waiting 3 to 7 days for microbial results, Celsis delivers that in 24 hours. This technology allows you to make swift decisions, balancing between mitigating risk and managing inventory investment, reducing the cost associated with both. When you use the Celsis Rapid Microbial Method, you don't need to choose between increasing your risk to reduce your cost. You can find a way to improve efficiency of the supply chain and have reduced risk and lower cost as well. There are many process improvements with Celsis. First is capacity. You can have improved utilization of your space and production. Many facilities report limited space due to vessels holding work-in-progress product, awaiting microbial test results. With Celsis, you can turn over those vessels faster, increasing your throughput and freeing up capacity for additional production. Then there's in-process testing. In-process testing may not be feasible using your current methods because of the time required to result, but you can make different decisions when you have results in just 24 hours. A fast assay, like Celsis, can allow for additional testing, pre- and post-filling. Then there's production flow improvements. Reducing hold times may open up other opportunities to further optimize the flow of materials through the production process, allowing you to increase your efficiency. Then there's the positive impact on laboratory workflow. Celsis produces automated and objective results, eliminating subjectivity and reduced risk of human error. Then there's quicker and more effective contamination remediation. When you have a contaminated product, knowing as soon as possible can make all the difference. Then there's the lasting benefits to the laboratory and individual employee. The Celsis microbial detection method makes microbial testing laboratories more efficient and require less time, materials, and expertise to operate, and has an automated workflow and streamlined trainings. Let's consider rapid methods as an opportunity to be innovative. Innovation can have an equal, if not greater, impact on the company when it starts in the microbiology lab, in addition to the formulation lab. You can maximize productivity and efficiency, streamline and improve supply chain predictability, and improve risk assessments. And it's a worthwhile investment in investing in microbial quality. Thank you for your time today listening to my presentation. You can learn more about Charles River's microbial enhancement technologies for cosmetics and personal care products in the link below.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. It's great to have you here. My name is James Montero and I'm Senior Marketing Manager for London Packaging Week, a packaging trade show with a specific section for the cosmetics industry, PCD. Our next edition is next week, but I'll go into that a bit later on. What I'm really here to talk to you about today are some of the beauty trends that we've seen this year and those that we'll see going into 2025 and beyond. Before I go into the trends, I'd like to go through how important the beauty, cosmetics and personal care industries are for the UK economy, just for some perspective. As you can see, it directly contributed to £13.5 billion to the UK GDPs last year, which is up by 11% according to the British Beauty Council Value of Beauty Report 2024. The indirect contributions, supply chain, employee spending, etc., added a further 13.6 billion and combined represent just over 1% of overall UK GDP. So, massive value there. So here's what we've seen recently. 2023 saw a 10% increase in spending on personal care. Skincare is the most shopped for beauty category across all age groups. 41% of Gen Z and 40% of millennials spend most of their cosmetics on skincare, according to Klarna. There is a 64% increase in searches for refillable options in 2023. 81% of consumers say beauty brands should actively reduce plastic packaging, but 47% would accept recyclable plastic instead. Nearly half, 43%, of beauty consumers, including half of women, want to see more inclusive beauty products in advertising. And then in terms of regulation, most global regulations are focused on plastic reduction. This will have significant ramifications for the beauty packaging industry, which creates roughly 120 billion units of packaging per year, 70% of which is not recycled. Regulations like PPWR and consumer preferences are driving a trend towards minimalism, both in terms of product and packaging. Other regulations around safety information, such as the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act in the US, place new demands on the cosmetics industry, similar to the demands faced by healthcare companies. Just like healthcare companies must provide detailed safety information in multiple languages, we are increasingly seeing the same expected of the cosmetics industry. Packaging has to evolve in order to carry that information, whether through on-pack printing, multi-fold labels, or innovative leaflet inserts. So what are we seeing here? Overall spending growth on beauty is set to remain stable when adjusted for inflation, even as the cost of living pressures remain. Smart packaging and AR experiences are continuing to develop, going from gimmick to true value-adding feature in recent years. Some brands like Burberry Beauty use facial tracking and AR to enable users to digitally try on makeup before they buy, for example. QR codes can be used to provide proof of authenticity for designer brands, while NFC technology and labels can be used to provide in-depth information about ingredients, brand stories, and other consumer engagement experiences. The key is that technology should be used to improve transparency and break down barriers, not frustrate consumers. Simplicity is key. The fewer the ingredients, the better. Consumers look for simple products that aren't made with a laundry list of chemicals. Packaging often reflects this through simple, clean shapes and designs. Consumers also look for dermatologist approval, which can be implicitly communicated with a minimalist, medical-esque aesthetic. First impressions matter. 43% of Gen Z start their shopping journey on TikTok. Packaging has to be of high impact and photogenic, and opening experience matters. Unboxing videos are hugely popular and the way for businesses to communicate their brand's personality in a fun, tactile way as part of an influencer marketing strategy. The desire to move to all-inclusive, or more inclusive at least, will continue to drive accessible innovations. For example, if a pack is designed with an easy opening feature that makes it simpler for those experiencing motor skills difficulties to use, it will be easier to use for everyone. A drive to make products feel more personal means brands are looking into capturing cultural heritage in product ingredients, brand stories, and packaging designs. Examples of brands include Salwa Peterson, which incorporates Central African paintings into its packaging designs, while Officine Universelle Bully draws from 19th century European painting for its aesthetic, tapping into cultural nostalgia. But like in all aspects of life, it comes with its challenges. So, how can you be creative and differentiate your products whilst also providing a minimalist aesthetic? Not everything has to be a matte white box. Designers can incorporate sophisticated techniques like foiling, embossing, textured varnishes, colors, and more. Consumers are interested in refillable options, but does that mean that we have the infrastructure to support them? We have seen several novel innovations at our shows in recent years. For example, at our sister event, Paris Packaging Week, we highlighted good filling through our Future Leaders initiative. This company designs multi-purpose vending machines that dispense household products like shampoo and surface cleaner into packaging supplied by the consumer. Could this be adapted to deliver cosmetics products like lotions or perfumes to consumers? Consumers desire more sustainable packaging, and brands and retailers develop their own sustainability goals to meet these demands. However, meeting these goals often requires heavy investment in research and development and new processes, which can drive up costs. At a time when material costs are rising across the world anyway, this can mean difficult decisions have to be made. Protecting product integrity is paramount. Plastic is an excellent barrier material that protects many products from degradation through the supply chain. And any alternative materials have to offer at least the equivalent performance. We really haven't seen that much of that yet, but we're hoping more to come. So how can attending events help set the next trends and help smooth out the challenges? It's simple, through collaboration and innovation. Not one company has the answer to all of these challenges, so we need lots of cross-pollination of ideas from within and outside the industry. London Packaging Week hosts not only PCD, our cosmetics-focused showcase, but 3 other events too. PLD, the Premium Drinks event, Packaging Premiere, the Luxury Packaging event, and Food and Consumer Pack, dedicated to food and FMCG products. The best thing about events like London is that it brings these diverse industries together under one roof to discuss ideas and inspire one another. One of the key roles of events like London Packaging Week is facilitating face-to-face engagement between packaging experts who understand the balancing act that is required when reducing plastic in packaging, and brand stakeholders who may not. This allows for nuanced conversations and education to take place, which in turn benefits everyone. To summarize, the aim of our events is to ensure that every attendee leaves with something, whether it's a new partnership, deal, or even just to spark inspiration for the next big innovation. And just before I finish off, I wanted to invite all of you to attend next week. It's completely free to attend, and I guarantee you'll leave with something that will help your day-to-day, whether it's the conference, various product displays, or the exhibitors. Something at London Packaging Week will inspire you to collaborate more and help you innovate your business. Thank you so much for listening and taking the time this afternoon, and I hope to see you there.
Hello, I'm Sophie Thiolas, Silgan Dispensing Global Marketing Director for Beauty, based in Paris, France. At Silgan, our partnerships with our clients are built on a 360-degree approach. We study market trends and consumer insight to target consumer needs. With years of expertise and technical advances in dispensing technology, our team of over 6,000 employees works as one team to craft superior products with strong focus on innovation and sustainability for state-of-the-art dispensing products. Working with some of the world's most iconic brands, Silgan collaborates directly with their teams to create solutions that set them apart. This involves the functionality of the product, the materials used, and the product story. These strong partnership skills is what makes Silgan the ideal supplier for customized refill solutions for the beauty market. From skincare to makeup, and more recently hair care, we work with brands to develop innovative, sustainable solutions with the consumer in mind. Consumers, specifically the Gen Z age group, currently teens to late 20s in age, are driving brands and packaging suppliers into a more sustainable future. Jenny Middleton, Director of Beauty Trend Forecasting for WGSN, states, as this value-driven generation uses their voice and actions to influence, they will compel brands to offer options for recycling, reusing, and refilling to bring a change. Sustainability has been a megatrend for several years and a focus for luxury beauty, from the ingredients used, the manufacturing process, and the packaging. The goal is to provide clean packaging without compromising on the consumer's quality and experience with the product. This leads to an opportunity for all the parties involved. Packaging manufacturers leverage expertise and generate solutions that address key pain points for brands and consumers. Brands develop loyalty with consumers, gaining increased repeat purchases. And the consumer receives cost reduction, convenience, and sustainability benefits. This trend is particularly relevant to skincare rather than other key beauty categories. Skincare dominates the beauty and personal care market with 60% of the market share and a predicted 5.25 annual growth rate from 2023 and 28. From a packaging standpoint, we are seeing a lot of luxury brands leaning into customized refill solutions. This allows the consumer to keep and reuse the out packaging, usually made out of glass, metal, or plastic, and replace the inner cartridge when the product has run out. With custom solutions comes a large portfolio with a variety of refill options. Some of the current refill formats on the market are pots that are made to refill jars, insert the pots into the existing jar and reuse the cap as normal. Packs are often used to refill existing packaging where the pump can be screwed off, the bottle filled from the refill bag, and the existing pump screwed back onto the bottle. Cartridges, which led to a more hygienic refill format, allow for consumers to refill their existing bottles without ever touching or allowing the product to be exposed to the open air and contaminants. In 2023, Silgan partnered with Stella McCartney on their Restore Cream, which won the 2023 Forme de Luxe Award in the category of dispensing.
Effectivement, nous sommes vraiment très enchantés d'avoir reçu ce prix dans la catégorie Dispensing et nous tenons à remercier nos partenaires, évidemment la marque Stella McCartney avec laquelle nous avons travaillé main dans la main, mais aussi les partenaires fabricants, que ce soit Texen pour la poche et également Bormioli Luigi pour le flacon. Sylvain?
Alors, au niveau de la pompe est bien spécifique pour la marque. Elle est composée de 3 composants qui sont le bouton poussoir avec une fonction verrouillable pour éviter le capot. On a aussi la frette technique qui est en clear PP PCR, donc 70% recyclé, qui nous permet d'avoir une teinte très blanche et qui permet aussi d'avoir toute la fonction de refillable et facilité de remise avec la poche. Et enfin une frette esthétique en 100% RPET avec un effet mat en blanc et piqûre cellier pour la gravure de la marque Stella.
Chez Silgan, nous avons vraiment à cœur de développer des solutions sur mesure, créatives et respectueuses de l'environnement. Nous tenons également à remercier les équipes en interne qui ont rendu ce projet possible. Et nous souhaitons à l'avenir développer de nouveaux projets. Donc pour vos projets sur mesure et éco-conçus, think Silgan.
This innovative product line is setting the standard for sustainable luxury. The refill solutions chosen by Stella McCartney Beauty were airless bag refills. The consumer keeps the glass outer bottle, pump and custom collar, and replace the bag insert when needed. Just have to remove the cap, place the collar on the bag, and put the bag back in the bottle. All of the products in this line offer refill solutions staying true to their mission. For YSL Pure Shot collection, we developed in partnership with L'Oreal a specific bayonet collar for our SP33 cream pump to allow a fast and easy change of the cartridge that is shown here on the Line Away serum. Refilling your product once lowers its environmental impact by a third, twice lower the impact by half. And when the refill is used on its own, the impact on climate change is 2/3 lower. While we have seen these solutions most used on skincare products, we have begun seeing a rise in refillable hair care and sun care products and expect to see it expand even more into 2025. L'Oréal Kérastase Huile Originale Elixir Ultime is a nominee for the 2024 Forme de Luxe Award in the category of refillable beauty. This is one-of-a-kind packaging that showcases our Elix pump that is specially resistant and compatible with difficult formulas such as oil. It comes attached to the 95% PCR plastic inner refill and easily locks onto the empty glass outer package, just like this. Make sure you come and visit us on LuxPack Monaco later this month to see all these innovations.
Hello and welcome everybody to the live Q&A session of this roundtable webinar. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to Anne, Sophie and James for all of their excellent presentations there. And to you guys, our viewers, if you would like to know anything further, based on everything you've heard today, now is your chance to send in your questions for our panelists on all things packaging related. We will attempt to answer as many of the questions as humanly possible in the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. And some of you have already sent in questions during sign up and throughout the talks. So let's get cracking. Firstly, what are the main beauty packaging sustainability trends? Big question there. Lady Sophie, as the last speaker, can you take us into this?
Sure, it's a very interesting question. I would love to answer. As I explained,
we've seen a lot of customized refill solution recently, and this is driven by the future European regulation. As you may know, the PPWR, which stands for Packaging and Packaging Waste Regulation, is coming into force in 2030, and cosmetic groups have already targets to achieve, especially on the recyclability of the product and the refillability, also on the weight reduction, which are big trends in sustainability, and of course the usage of recycled materials. At Silgan, this is something we are truly committed to do, helping our clients to achieve their sustainability goals.
Excellent. So it's obviously hugely important. But what's more important to the consumer? We have a question that's come in here saying, what's more important, the look and feel of beauty packaging or how sustainable and eco-friendly it is? Sophie, do you have any thoughts on that as an addendum?
Yeah. Sure. I would say that the consumer wants it all. And the brands we've seen recently doing big efforts to develop more sustainable options. What we've seen on the market, doing a few studies on our side, is that the consumer doesn't want to compromise on the experience. Let's say the beauty of the pack, the gesture, the convenience, and of course the efficacy. If they are to switch to a more eco-friendly option, it means that it would provide them a cost reduction. So the financial side has an importance in it, and also it has to remain a luxury and a good experience of the beauty product.
Absolutely. So we've got quite a lot of questions surrounding sustainability that have come in, unsurprisingly. We have one here. How is the refill packaging trend progressing? Maybe Anne, we haven't heard from you in a bit. You're the first speaker. Answer something for that.
Sure. Thank you. That is such a big, important question. Everyone across the globe is looking for a more sustainable solution, and refillable seems like a really good path. However, there's lots of points to concern. There's just so many logistical challenges as well. And then also the manufacturing control is really different. Before, everything's done at the manufacturing site. All the checks and check boxes have been checked, and the quality is ensured. So how do you ensure quality when someone other than the manufacturer is putting the final piece together? So there are some, very ingenious ways of doing that. One of those ways is like how Sophie presented, where how you can have something already pre-packaged and that just kind of goes back in, because there's lots of things to be considered, especially in the microbiological aspect as well. How are you intending on using that formula? Diluting a formula is not the intention. And introducing water can introduce microbial contamination. So, right now there's not a lot of regulation out there about how to control refillables. So the onus is on the manufacturer, and everyone's kind of doing things a little differently. I'd say you'll probably see some bigger changes when regulatory bodies have more of a say in there. But the industry is definitely staying on trend with it.
Great answer there, great angle. To our other panelists, what do you think about that, James and Sophie?
I think the trend is, it's still progressing well. And the brands are really, as I said, initiating concentrated efforts in conception and in investment to provide refillability. We are seeing a lot of options in fragrance, but also in beauty and personal care markets. This is really a trend that infuses all the market. And the consumers are really the driving force for a more sustainable future. And last year, we did a survey, especially for the fragrance field, and we realized that 75% of the consumers have already used a refill package. And the reason behind is the eco-conscious and also the fact that it saves money. So it's really important to have this economical side when you provide refills. It has to provide a cost saving.
I also think that on our side, there's sort of innovations in materials and design, such as containers made from recycled ocean plastics, are expected to enhance refillable options, functionality, and environmental benefits. Lush has introduced this advent calendar refilled replenishes, allowing customers to refill seasonal products and reduce single-use packaging. Consumers' education and initiatives like discounts for refilling will play a crucial role, I think, in the adoption. And WRAP forecasts that by 2035, 30% of private label product volumes will be reusable or refillable, underscoring really that trend and trend's potential impact.
Absolutely. And we have one here asking, how can beauty balance that sustainable push with the really important parts of keeping the products both affordable and protected, crucially? James, would you like to hop on that one?
Yeah, so of course, yes, sorry. So minimalist packaging design, I think that, emphasizing less is more approach and reducing material usage without compromising on the aesthetics, and therefore, or thereby cutting costs and supporting sustainability goals is a big one. Consumer-driven trends, so catering to millennials and Gen Z's preference to simple, eco-friendly packaging that suggests quality, and also pushing brands towards cost-effective yet appealing designs, and localized packaging solutions, so tailoring packaging to regional recycling capabilities, optimizing costs, and minimizing waste by avoiding the one-size-fits-all approach.
So we've most of those questions so far have been ones that came in during the sign-up process, but we've had a lot more in while we've been answering all those questions already. So we have one here asking, will aluminium tubes remain a trend and continue to be sustainable in the coming years? We're seeing that around a bit. What do we think of the aluminium tubes trend then? No worries. Anne? No? In that case, let's hop on to the next one, which is, this is an interesting one, riffing off what we were talking about with refillables earlier on. Are there any refillable options which do not include any plastics? Because I think we can all agree that maybe we're seeing a lot of refillables that do use plastics. Is there a reason why that is the case?
Means it would be glass and metal, no? If it were not to have plastic as packaging, I don't see other option as having glass container and maybe metallic closure. I think it is possible.
I would also add to that using plastics that are recyclable and that have that second use would be will be something to look forward to, and companies like Prevented Ocean Plastics do this very well.
Excellent. And
I'd like to add something to that as well. Because what we're encountering here is a much bigger, concern, and that is just how do you ensure recycling? How do you even is happening for that refillable packaging? And there's a lot of different options out there. I think that one of the reasons why you're seeing more plastics, it could have something to do with just the ease of shipment, weights, things like that. And also there are a lot more innovations in like the biodegradability of plastics, or plastics that have and that have like natural sources, packaging that has just a lot of different types of literal and figurative flexibility to it. So that's my opinion on the plastics packaging for that.
Fantastic. So I think the general consensus is just because it's plastic doesn't mean it can't be sustainable as well. There's lots of ways in which plastics can be sustainable, and this is one of them. So we have actually, I really like this question here. What are the main trends relating to the delivery of packaging for the unboxing experience? So when we're talking about how to get packaging to the consumer and that all-important revelation and unboxing experience, what are our thoughts around that? What are the trends related to that?
I think there's a lot of studies that relate to the psychology of that. In fact, one of our speakers next week works very closely with a luxury brand called Cartier. I know it's not really cosmetics, but I think the same applies. And the study of the psychology there is becoming ever more present in the unboxing of products, whether it's cosmetics and other products as well.
Lovely. So we've got a question here, which might be more for Sophie, but maybe everyone can chime in if they've got a bit of knowledge in this respect. Are your customers asking for sustainable colorants that meet their branding? Is colorants a conversation that comes up, or is that still maybe a bit left field at the moment?
Colorants, you mean in terms of plastic injection?
Yes, yeah, batch colorants, I believe is what they're asking about, yeah.
Yeah. To what I know, I haven't been asked too much. They are truly asking for PCR material. And of course, we tend to choose material that have recycling stream, meaning the PP, the PE, the PET. And but when it comes to sustainable tint, I don't know that much about that. We push for recycled materials. And now we have very, very interesting, because very transparent PCR for PP and rPET also.
Excellent. So the conversation is still very much around, post-consumer recycled content there.
Yes, yes.
So I have one here asking, what are the do's and don'ts when creating packaging? Simple question, very direct, I like it. Packaging do's and don'ts.
Oh yes, this one is really interesting, Julia. The first one for the do's, I would say, is the eco-conception, because when you think about the product, you have to integrate the recyclability from the very early stage, meaning the weight reduction, no extra packaging, choose materials that have a recycling stream, such as PP, PE, PET, and glass, integrate the recycled materials, and also create refillable packaging. On the don'ts side, I would say don't use material that perturbates the recycling stream, such as the POM, the PBT, but also all the styrenic components, materials. Don't develop heavy products, the one which have double wall or non-necessary extra packaging, and of course, avoid single-use product. And maybe to complete, I would say that we have also to pay a special attention to the transportation that is going to be used when getting your components to your final destination, because you have to bear in mind that it's not the same story if you use train or if you use boat or air freight. Air freight would be the one that has more impact, and the less impactful would be the boat, the sea freight. So all this is to be taken into account when working on a new product in order to lower its impact on the environment.
I think just to follow on Sophie's answer, I think that integrating sort of QR codes or AI technology that smart features to enhance consumer engagement and meets safety requirements, turning packaging into that interactive experience is also one to look out for.
Excellent, some great tips there, guys. And that transport one especially as well, that was sometimes that can fall by the wayside, and it's very, very important to keep in mind as well. So we've got one which I think is going to be for Anne to answer here, asking, could you describe in more detail why microbiology and packaging are important to each other? And what is the value of changing to a rapid method for a cosmetics company?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So there's a lot of unseen details when you think of a rapid method like the one that I discussed. You think of the title rapid, it takes less time. Okay, well, that's great. But it's got a lot bigger impact to the rest of the company. So it's really an enhancement in supply chain. I actually have a formulator background as well. So, I was used to just waiting until the test is done, not really realizing there was another way. And then looking into these rapid methods here, there's a huge efficiency improvements that can happen here. And it's really not just the time to result, it's a time to respond. And that when it comes to packaging, one of the big things that you can do now, because it takes a lot less time to actually run this test, when you're working with really expensive packaging or say low volume packaging, gosh, the last thing you want to hear is we filled the product is contaminated, we have to throw everything out. And that's horrible. And that's a huge waste of money. And then you're scrambling to find a replacement. How are we going to get that on the shelves? We've got such a tight timeline. So one of the ways you can mitigate that risk is to, with a faster test, be able to test in process bulk before it even goes into the packaging. You could even swab the package before you actually test it. So you could test both variables before they actually gets to the final package, saving you not just time, but a huge headache, money, and the hassle of trying to figure out what are you going to do when it's not if this is going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, because microorganisms are a part of our lives.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for answering that. I hope that answers your question fully, to whoever sent that one in. So I have one in here saying, how can we avoid greenwashing in packaging? Obviously, lots of laws coming out surrounding greenwashing. How can we avoid that in this area of the industry?
Maybe what is important here is to have a clear and common rule definition of what is sustainability. And in Europe, what we are lacking today is common rules. So this is more or less the purpose of the European new regulation, the PPWR, to have the same methodology of calculation, a transparent communication, which is key, and a clear definition.
Great answer. Now we've probably got time for maybe 2 more questions. So there's one here that's come in, which I quite like, which, if I can find it. Here we go. What would you say are the key 5 things that have to attract a consumer when it comes to packaging? I like that one. Thank you for sending that in, whoever you are. The top, 5 things. Maybe we can make it 3 for time's sake. 3 things, the main things to attract a consumer to beauty packaging. Maybe 1 each.
Convenience.
I would say, yeah.
Convenience, I would say.
I would probably say that it looks the part and is maybe backed by a dermatologist. I think that's sometimes quite a big thing, especially in this day and age where information, we have sort of so much information that it and now creams and anything cosmetics needs to be backed by doctors, etc.
Lovely. And Anne, what would your top one be?
Yeah, if I had to choose one, I would say having innovative packaging, making it look easy to use, looking like it's minimalist, but having something new and exciting that makes everything easier. But it actually is. It looks and uses very simply. So that's what I would say.
Great answers there. So for our final one, one's come in saying, what are the biggest opportunities and challenges for the packaging industry in the next few years, specifically beauty packaging? What do you guys think about opportunities and challenges? James, can I draw you on that one?
Yeah, sure. So I think the first of all, I think balancing the cost with sustainability. I mean, I touched a little bit about it on my presentation, but navigating the challenge of developing sort of eco-friendly packaging that remains affordable with an emphasis on innovative materials and cost-effective production methods. I think, supply chain resilience, so addressing their disruptions by building more localized, resilient supply chains, reducing dependency on global networks and mitigating risks. And I suppose the circular economy integration, so embracing the circular economy principles and designing packaging for reuse, recycling, and composting, aligning with the global sustainability trends.
Fantastic. And would anyone like to add to what you think is an opportunity or a challenge in this particular market? No problems if not.
Yeah, I can add in
yeah, go ahead,
I'll just say one challenge, that I can see is that I think I anticipate regulations increasing, not decreasing. And with that could be just adding new challenges to packaging that, different materials that you can't use anymore for good reason. And I think that also can challenge how the product can interact with that packaging. More malleable packaging that have more availability to air and water can pose different risks to the product as well. So there's a lot of things to consider. So as regulations change, I think companies need to do their best to be innovative and respond to that, as well as maintain the efficacy and safety of their products.
And Sophie?
Yes, on my side, in the dispensing world, our main challenge is to achieve full plastic pumps. This is a real challenge because first there is big innovation and industrial work behind, and also it has a significant cost to completely change the construction of our pumps.
I can imagine. Well, thank you guys so much. Some really, really great answers there. Unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. But thank you so much to all of you guys, our panelists, for all of your input there. To our viewers, thank you for joining us too. Apologies if we didn't get around to your specific question today. I know we had quite a few in. As mentioned at the start of the webinar, maybe if you were a bit late to proceedings, you missed the first bit, you'd like to catch up, this webinar will be available on demand. The next roundtable in our series will take place on the 24th of October, and it is going to be all about upcoming skincare trends. You do not want to miss those, so make sure you put that date in your calendar and sign up. And I'd like to round off by extending a huge thank you to all of our speakers, and thank you to our audience too for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Julia.